Hello, hello, hopefully you can hear me now. Hello, right. So, people that had joined before, hopefully you can, well, you will find this stream again because it stopped working. I didn't know until it was too late. So, we're back, it's working again. I'm going to repeat what I said before for people that will see this a little bit later. So what I'd started off by saying is my suggestions for this evening. Don't do too much maths if you want to do some, but feel free to do some. If you're going to do some, what I'd recommend is doing either focusing on like one specific topic or maybe even two at a push. And then the other thing I would recommend if you're doing some maths is either those topics, doing one or two, or doing a practice paper, a previous paper, to give you some more exam practice and also a general overview of topics. Now, the next thing I would suggest is making sure you get enough sleep this evening. So, going to bed with enough time to get yourself a good night's sleep so that you're not tired tomorrow morning. I would also recommend tonight that you get everything packed and sorted equipment wise for tomorrow, so it's all done and you don't have to worry about it. Iman, I will give you some advice in just 1 second, alright, so bear with me. I'm just going to finish going through what I recommend for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, people, what I would suggest is, well, what I said tonight, do that tonight, and then tomorrow morning make sure you get up or wake up with enough time so you're not rushing. And then also make sure you have breakfast, okay? That's going to be important so you're not tired, you're not hungry during the test, you're not hungry, you're comfortable and you're confident as you can be to be doing the test. In terms of GCSE Maths mocks, Imam, what I would suggest is, well, first things first, with any exam, is making sure that you have, well, you know what you don't know, basically. So understanding actually, right, well I need to work on this topic, let's say for example, I don't know, ratio, or I need to work on indices, or I need to work on standard form. Whatever it is, make sure you know what it is. That's the first thing really. Once you know what that is, then you can go and work on it in different places, you know, using different resources. You know, you can feel free to put it in the chat here if it's something you would like me to go over. There are other places like Maths Genie, Corbett Maths, Hegarty Maths, My Maths, Manga High, all sorts of different things and resources are online. But of course, like I say, put it in the comments and I'm more than happy to go through questions, examples, methodology about it. So that's absolutely fine. But the first thing is making sure you know what you don't know. And that's the biggest challenge really. And the best way of doing that is looking over previous assessments and tests and going based off of those. How have those gone? Did those go well? Which one didn't? Have a look at it and make sure you address and make sure you understand the questions you didn't understand. And if not, speak to your teacher, put it in the comments, let me know, I can go through it for you. I hope that makes sense. But like I've said a few times there, the most important thing is knowing what you don't know. Because if you don't know what you don't know, then you can't work on it to improve and know what you don't know. Alright? Okay, right, now the rest of this session tonight, people, is going to be going through topics and questions based on the predicted or predictions from first class maths. Now, like I said before, and I will put this link in the chat, there is a website called Third Space Learning where they had basically all the websites with predicted papers on there, which I only found today, which is why I'm sharing it with yourselves today. So that will be, again, useful for paper 3, but also if you wanted additional papers tonight, additional questions to have a look at, they're there. And there's also some blog posts on recommendations as well, on top of what I've said, you know, in preparation for the exams. So that might be interesting to have a look at. Okay, so unless there's any further questions. So Lisa, is this foundation? Yes, so some of these are from foundation and some of these are from higher. So it's a bit of a mix, but also there's going to be, you know, some overlap, isn't there? So the second half of foundation is the start of the higher paper. So there is some overlap. But yeah, some of these will be just higher questions. And what I will share with you before I move on to doing the questions is the recommendations from First Class Maths, just so if you haven't seen these already, you're aware of them. So Edexcel Higher, and I've only got the most likely topics, the 5-star and the 4-star ones on here. So this is Edexcel Higher, so you've got these ones here. Okay. I'm not going to read through them all again, hopefully you can see that all. And then the next one I've got is AQA Higher. So AQA Higher is these topics, so sequences, SOHCAHTOA, averages, proportion, so on, bounds, substitution. Okay. Then in terms of Edexcel Foundation, so if you're doing Edexcel, Lisa, this would be recommended topics from First Class Maths. So standard form, right as a ratio, transformations, rounding numbers, probability, ratio, and then you've got these other ones which are still very likely but slightly less likely to appear in their opinions. So sequences again, fractions, simplifying expressions, ordering numbers, use of a calculator. Make sure also, one other recommendation, make sure your calculator has the D at the top. That means it's working in degrees. Okay, your calculator has to be working in degrees to do SOHCAHTOA, to do trigonometry. Otherwise, if it has the R at the top, that stands for radians, which you don't need to know anything about, but just don't use it, that will give you the wrong answers. So if you do like sine 60, it will give you something completely different to what you need. Okay, and then finally, if you do AQA Foundation, these are the most likely topics to appear on there in First Class Maths opinion. So sequences, time calculations, percentages of an amount, metric units, averages, linear equations, algebraic expressions, and so on. Okay, and if you need to, obviously print screen it, whatever, pause the video so you can have a proper look at those if you need to. All of these are available on the website at the bottom, firstclassmaths.com. Just go to exam papers and they're at the top, and they've got practice papers on there, which they've got videos for on there as well, so you can have a look through those. Lucas, yeah, it's good. It's all going well. So far, so good. Yeah. I hope everything's good with yourself as well, and I hope all the exams for everybody are going well. And good luck. If I haven't said it already, good luck for tomorrow, everybody. Right, questions here to go through. Okay, now some of these may be applicable to your paper, some of them not. I've tried to do a mix of questions so they're suitable for everybody. Now it's important to remember with these predictions, they could be on any of the papers. Okay, so let me rephrase that, sorry. Any question could be on any paper. The predictions is only what they think. So actually, although let's say, if I make up a topic, maybe standard form has been on paper 1. I can't remember, I don't know. But if it had, it could still be on paper 2 and paper 3. They don't know for certain, okay? So these are just predictions. They could test anything on the papers. But those predictions are based off calculations, percentages based on what's been on previous papers, the likelihood of it. Okay? Right, so getting on with these questions. First thing, standard form. First thing with any question is trying to realise and work out what topic it is, because then you can think about actually what do I know about that topic? How can I use my knowledge to answer the question? So, standard form, that's what it's about. Right, 5.2 times 10 to the negative 1 is an ordinary number. Now, when the power is negative, that essentially means divide by 10, in this case 1 times. Okay, so divide by 10 once, that's going to give me an answer of 0.52. Now, an ordinary number just means, not standard form. Okay? Next one, work out the value of this. Now, I'm going to use my calculator because these are all from calculator papers. So what I would do is, if you didn't have a calculator, times your numbers, add your powers. If you do have a calculator, do it on your calculator. 3.2, and I don't recommend using this times 10 button, although it is different on this new calculator. So if you got this one, you can use it. The reason I don't recommend it is because it looks so different to actually the question. So I want to make it look exactly the same. So times 10 and then power button 3. Close brackets times, open brackets 6.5 times 10 to the power of 4. Execute and I get this. Now I've got to give it in standard form. So I'll write down my answer first of all. So 208, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros after that. Okay, now to put that in standard form, I need to have a number between 1 and 10, so my decimal point needs to go here, which means I'm going to get 2.08, don't need to write the rest of those, times 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So count the jumps backwards from your decimal point. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lisa, you can do. So if you want to find the ordinary number for the first one, exactly, just put it in your calculator. That will work it out for you. So 5.2 times 10 to the negative 1, yeah, 0.52. Super. And even if you're not sure, it's definitely worth trying it, isn't it? And seeing what the calculator gives you. And then if you can't work it out, well, then you'll have to do it manually, won't you? So it's always worth trying, though. Okay, next one. So we've got a sector of a circle here. So I've got to think about pi r squared, because that's area of a circle, and pi times diameter, because that's circumference. Now, perimeter, I want to basically add up all of the sides of the shape. So I need to do 5.2, add 5.2, add this curved bit here. Now, to work that out, I need some fraction of the full circumference. Now, circumference is pi times by diameter, or 2 times pi times r, double your radius is your diameter. And then I need to do the fraction of the circle it is. So I need to do 80 out of 360, because the angle's 80 out of a total of 360, times by pi, because I'm doing the circumference, times by my diameter, which is double my radius, so that's got to be 10.4, because double 5.2 is 10.4. So I've used that formula there. Okay, pi times diameter, and then I need that fraction of it, because I've got that fraction of a circle. And that will be the curved part. So type that into my calculator, 80 over 360 times by pi, where is that on this calculator, because it's a new one, it's over here, pi times by 10.4. So that's 7.26, we need it to 3 significant figures, 7.26. Now I'm going to leave that on my calculator, which I put dot 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 there. I need to add on, because that's the curved bit, 5.2 add 5.2 to get the whole perimeter. So add 5.2, add 5.2, gives me 17.7 to 3 significant figures. Okay, so that's the answer for the perimeter. This formula is very similar for area. So you need your angle over 360 times pi and then times r squared for the area of a sector. Okay, next question is algebraic fractions, which if you're doing foundation, I don't believe is on foundation. But having said that, there's some things in here which you will need to be able to do on foundation, such as factorisation. Now, with simplifying algebraic fractions, factorise everything first of all, okay? So factorise 3x plus 6. So, they've both got multiples of 3 in there, so that's 3 lots of x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6, divided by x minus 4. Can't factorise the bottom bit. Then I've got to factorise the top up here. Now, I'm going to have 2 brackets because it's a quadratic. And I've got all 3 terms. Now, one of them has to have 2x in, and one has to have x in. So that I get 2x times x is 2x squared. Then I've got to think about these factors of 10. So, my factors of 10 are 1 times 10, 2 times 5. Okay. So what I want to do from here is basically put these in the right places so that it will multiply out. It's going to be plus 9x and plus 10. So I'm going to put in, whatever I put here will be doubled before I add it to this one to give me 9x. So if I put 5 here, 5 times 2 is 10, add the 2 is 12, that won't give me 9. So I need to put 2 here, plus 2, and plus 5, and then check that works. 2x times x is 2x squared. 5x, 2 times 2x is 4x, so that makes 9x in total. 5 times 2 is 10. So that's that factorised. Now the bottom bit, that will become x and x minus 4 when I factorise it. You don't have two brackets there because you don't have all three terms of your quadratic. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is, because you're dividing, I need to flip this fraction, well basically make it the reciprocal and change that to a times. So you get 3 lots of x plus 2 over x minus 4 times by, now flip that, x bracket x minus 4 all divided by 2x plus 5 and x plus 2. Okay, and now bits will cancel here, top and bottom. So I've got on the top x minus 4 and x minus 4 on the bottom, so they will cancel. I've then got x plus 2 and x plus 2, so that will give us 3 times x, which is 3x, over, now on the bottom we've just got 2x plus 5 left. And that's your answer because we can't simplify any further, so that's the answer, okay? Right, now I'm going to go through some other questions. I'm going to do one more page and then I'm going to finish there. Sorry that the stream kind of messed up at the start. I'm not sure why or how that happened. Just the computer, maybe it's because it's so hot in here or something like that. It is quite mild weather at the minute, but yeah, sorry about that. Right, now I want to go through some of these. So there's some probability questions here, and then transformations to have a look at as well. So completing this table, and I believe both of these could be on foundation as well. So you know, if you are doing foundation, both of these types of questions could be on there. Complete the table. Now, these are results of a game: won, lost, and drew. Now, in a game, you can only either win, lose, or draw. So these options are what's called exhaustive, i.e., they add up to 1. So on your calculator, if you do 1 minus 0.2 minus 0.45, excuse me, we will get the answer for this last option for drawing. So that's 0.35. Okay. Right, that's the first bit done, and that was 2 marks of that, pretty straightforward. The team lost 10 more games than they won. How many games did the team play altogether? Now this is relative frequency. So this second bit is actually a bit of a tricky question. The team lost 10 more games than they won. So we need to look at here the difference actually, because this is comparing losers to wins, and they lost 10 more. So however much more the losing bit is, that's our proportion of the games, that's our fraction of the games, that's our decimal amount of the total. So lost, subtract 1, that's 0.45, take away 0.2. What's the difference there? Well, that's going to give you 0.25, and that's the difference between losing and winning. Okay, I'll just check that on my calculator, and a recommendation is even something simple like that, which you're pretty sure you can do in your head, check on the calculator. You've got the calculator there. What you don't want to do is make a silly mistake. So, yeah, obviously I've got it right, but make sure to check it. So that's the difference. So I've got my total, and if I was to times that by 0.2, then I get 10, which is the difference in the games. So what I can now do is I can divide by 0.2 on both sides, and that will give me the total. So it's kind of, well, it's inverse operations. It's like solving an equation, basically. So the total number of games is going to be, so 10 divided by 0.2, I get 50. Okay, that's the total number of games. What I want to do at this point is check. Anything you can check and you know how to check it. Okay, and the way to check it is if I do 50 times 0.2. So 50 times 0.2, what does that give me? 50 times 0.2 gives me 10. So that reckons I won, or they won, sorry, 10 games. Now if we do the same for lost, 50 times 0.45, that gives me 22.5. Okay. Right, well, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Because I can't draw or lose 22.5 games, and that isn't 10 more. So, I see where I've gone wrong. I've done something quite silly in my working out. This is why you check things. I haven't done that on purpose, but that's why you check. The difference was 0.25. That should have been 0.25, which then means I divide by 0.25 and I'll get a slightly different total. Okay, so there's the importance of checking. So, 10 divided by 0.25, 40 games. Okay. So, 40 now times 0.2. 8. 40 times 0.45 is 18. That's a difference of 10, which is exactly what we needed. And just check actually, if I do 40 times 0.35, that gives me 14. Add all of those together, I should get 40. So 18, add 8, add 14. Okay, good. So I've checked, basically I've got both those answers right there. Okay, that's why, like I said before, you need to check, if you can, if you know how to, what you're doing, and making sure that it's right, because that took me seconds there, a little bit longer as I'm talking, but that's made sure that I've got those marks. Okay, the next question, and the last question I'm going to do now, is looking at these. So shape A is transformed, so transformations, to shape B by reflection in the x-axis, followed by a translation. Now, while we're on the topic of transformations, I want to just tell you about an acronym that I found out very recently called TERRY, and it's just a way of remembering all your transformations. So T-E-R-R-Y. What it stands for is translation, enlargement, rotation, and reflection. And the last one, for whatever reason, just to make it sound like a word, I suppose, or a name at least, just stands for, yeah, because you've remembered them all, I think. But it's a good way of making sure you remembered all your transformations. Right, so back to the question. Shape A is transformed to shape B by reflection in the x-axis. X-axis, got the x next to it, pretty obvious. So shape A, we're going from. Reflection in the x-axis, do that bit first. Now, to do a reflection, count the squares away it is from the line you're reflecting it in. So 1, 2, same on the other side of the line. 1, 2. So that corner is going to go here. This bottom left one, 1, 2, 1, 2, across there. These ones, so top right, if you like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, across there. Same with the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So count the distance to the line, do the same on the other side. Then you need to grab your ruler and join those up. Make sure you're as accurate with these as you can be. I've marked some tests recently with transformations in it, and not just transformations, but also some other papers with graphs and things in. You need to make sure you're as accurate as you can be. You need to make sure you're using a pencil. The only reason I'm using a pen on this is so that you can see it clearly. Use a pencil, make sure you've got a rubber, make sure your pencils are sharp as well. You don't want to be going in there having to sharpen your pencil, wasting time. Right, so now I've got this shape. Now I need to do a translation, P and Q. Now, I need to move it to the left. So this point, you only need to think about one point here. I want to go from here to here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. So 5 left, and then I'm going to go 1 up. Now, in the vector, x is the top. Why? Because x comes first in the alphabet, x, y, z. So x is the first one, y is the second one. Now if you go left, think about it, your x numbers are going down. So you're going to subtract. That's going to be subtract or negative 5. So this is going to be negative 5. And then q is going to be, if you look at your y, you're going up 1, you're adding 1. So that's going to be +1, or just, you don't usually write the plus, so it's just going to be 1. Yeah. So P would be the top number, which is -5, and Q would be 1. Okay. Right. I hope that was helpful, useful. I'm sorry about the time. You know, a little bit less time because of the stream not working, freezing for whatever reason. It seems to be working now. My face is still moving when I'm looking at it on the video. So yeah, remember what I said at the start about what you need to do tonight. Make sure you get enough sleep. Make sure you have enough to drink. Have breakfast in the morning. That you get all your stuff sorted tonight, so you're not stressed. You're not worried about it tomorrow. If you want to make flashcards, or if you want to do revision in the morning, that's absolutely fine. And that can be a good way to reassure yourself and relax yourself. Yeah, so whatever makes you feel the most comfortable is what I would recommend, really. Good luck, and what I will be doing on Sunday, 10:30, like I have been doing for the last weeks, is another session using the predicted topics. Now, there will be more predictions from first class maths, I presume, as well as other places, and I'll use them for the session on Sunday to give us more predictions about what will be on paper 3, and obviously we will have had 2 papers by then, so we will have a very good idea, or as best an idea as we can do, what's going to be on paper 3, because we will have seen quite a lot of the other topics. So it's definitely a session to make sure you tune in for if you've joined the session tonight, or if you're watching this back later on. Well, I will also try and do a session next Tuesday before paper 3 as well, and if you've got anything you want to go through, any answers you need, please put them in the chat, and I will make sure I go through them in the stream. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Good luck for tomorrow. Yeah, best of luck, and hopefully I will see people on Sunday for the stream again. Okay, bye bye. Thank you, Lisa, as well, before I go. Bye bye.